Westmoreland Community Connections is a presentation of Citizens Fiber.
Welcome to Westmoreland Community Connections, a look at issues and happenings on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. Here now is your host, Chad Ammond, President and CEO of the Westmoreland County Chamber of Commerce.
Hi, this is Lora Kay from the WHJB Morning Show, and I have the pleasure today of speaking with Jovita Carranza. She serves as the 26th Administrator of the U.S. Small Business Administration, or the SBA, and as a member of President Trump's cabinet, she advocates on behalf of the 30 million small businesses here in America. She leads a team of professionals that are dedicated to ensuring that entrepreneurs located across America have the support and resources that they need to start, grow, and expand their small businesses and, of course, recover in the event of a declared disaster, such as the one we are currently going through with COVID-19. Now, prior to leading the SBA, Administrator Carranza served as the Treasurer of the United States at the U.S. Department of the Treasury under President Donald Trump. And when she was there, she focused on increasing participation in our vibrant economy by fostering financial capability and sustainability. Now, before her first SBA appointment, Jovita had a distinguished 30-year career at UPS, where she was the highest-ranking Latina in the history of the company. That is quite an introduction, Jovita, and thank you so much for taking time with me today.
Thank you, Laura. It's a real pleasure to be on your show. Thank you.
We are certainly going to be disseminating some important information to our listeners today. So let's get started. Tell us why you are visiting the Commonwealth this weekend.
Well, I'll start out by saying, Laura, that as head of the U.S. Small Business Administration and the number one advocate, based on the fact that I am the administrator of the Small Business Administration, and for America's 31 million small businesses, I'm really proud and looking forward to continue my tour here in Western Pennsylvania to visit small business owners who are, they're benefiting from the Emergency Relief Program, which, as you know, is called the Paycheck Protection Program. I want to learn firsthand from small businesses how they applied those funds, what were the benefits of this streamlined application, how is their lender relationship developing, and how are they sustaining their business, and what's their path forward. So you can't accomplish all of that over a phone, so learning firsthand, being situated in a round table where the lender's present, the CEO is present there, and the Chamber and Economic Development Corporation members are there, and as well as being supported with the local congressmen, the local legislators. It's been a real whole approach to learning how the businesses are surviving during these very difficult pandemic times.
And I agree with you, Jovita, that it is very important, other than email and phone calls, to really be here in person and to experience what's going on in Western Pennsylvania with our economy, with our businesses. Of course, with WHJB, we're always the champion of small businesses, so that's why it's so exciting to be able to talk to you today. Now, a lot of Pennsylvanians probably aren't familiar with the SBA, so tell me a little bit about your agency.
Well, there's so much to share, but I'll start out by saying that we provide services and products to small businesses who approach us to either be preparing to start up a business or expanding a business. They may be contemplating exporting, and we have over, about 62 district offices. There's 100 women business centers as we speak, and we also have resource partners that are called the SCORE. That's a senior core of retired executives who provide technical assistance at no cost. All our services are at no cost, and we also have established national lending partnerships, and so we provide that type of facilitation for our small businesses who need access to capital. So as a federal agency, we provide support to entrepreneurs, and we assist them in maintaining their small businesses, and also to explore opportunities with federal procurement, that is to say, federal contracting.
Okay. Oh, wow, you do a lot. and
Yes,
all
yes.
and all with
Indeed.
the heart of the small business owner, the entrepreneur in your sights as you're helping them. Well, you've made some similar visits to PA as well as to other states across the nation. So what are small businesses and small business owners telling you, especially during this time?
They're succeeding quite nicely as it relates to the application of the Paycheck Protection Program, and those funds have enabled them to retain their employees. As you know, some businesses have or return 100% of their employees, In some cases, they've lost employees either because of personal situations or maybe they sought out other opportunities. They've also been able to sustain their business. In other words, those funds were to pay for their infrastructure, operating costs such as leases and rents and utilities. So the fact that they've applied those funds very structured and very expediently, they were able to protect their business. Now, that's very, very encouraging to SBA because, as you know, we worked 24/7 around the clock to implement Paycheck Protection Program. And at this point, Laura, I'm proud to say that we have approved 5.2 million loans. That equates to 5.2 million small businesses, their employees, as well as their families and the local communities. So their infusion of continued high-velocity commerce is very, very important to our national economy as well as our national security. So small business is not small business at all. It actually represents 31 million small businesses, 60 million employees in the United States, as well as a contribution in the economy of over $10 trillion. So it is very vital for me to visit these small businesses, learn from them, and then learn also not only how they apply the Paycheck Protection Program, but also how are they utilizing the services and products that SBA has to offer them. That's an audit on my part on how well we're doing or what do we have to amplify or augment in our agency to provide them better services, not only from a lending partnership perspective, but we also have loan options that we guarantee, and then also we have special programs for women-owned businesses as well as veteran business outreach centers, and then, of course, the procurement technical assistance that we provide. So it's a holistic approach to protecting the entrepreneurship model and entrepreneurship spirit of our nation's economy.
And I think that is a great point because small business isn't just a one-faceted establishment. It has many different parts to it, and you're really addressing each one of those parts. And I'm sure receiving quite a warm welcome, hopefully, in your visit here to PA from businesses who have a lot of questions and are looking for some security. And I think that's really what you're providing is you're explaining how things work, and that gives us trust in the system, which is certainly something that we need right now.
You know, together under the leadership of President Donald Trump and his administration, everyone is very focused on protecting the small business sector and all that they enable in our economy. They're philanthropists, they're innovators, they're also protectors of our national security. And I'll tell you how that occurs, Laura. Many of these small businesses provide equipment and products to our Department of Defense, for example, or our Department of Energy. Mm-hmm. I'm here in Pennsylvania visiting manufacturers in the energy sector, which is crucial for our nation's energy supply. And so they're essential businesses. The term small may be a misnomer because some of these manufacturers that I'm visiting have anywhere from 500 employees down to 100 employees. But what they can accomplish with 300 employees is really phenomenal. Many of these are doing business in Turkey and Africa and here in Pennsylvania as well as throughout the United States. So these entrepreneurs, these small business owners, and these family-owned businesses have such a legacy and have such a mission, and also they have such a desire to continue contributing and create wealth for their employees and their nation and this nation. So it's really a privilege and an honor to be visiting them on behalf of this administration. As you know, the Secretary of Treasury, Secretary Mnuchin, and SBA, along with the administration and the White House, we have been so focused on small businesses, and the job is not over. I mean, that is to say, we have much more to do. You are aware that we have over $130 billion remaining in the Paycheck Protection Program, and that's why visiting with these small businesses to reassure them that this administration is continuing to negotiate the terms of the PPP so that we can provide another lifeline to the small businesses, because that's what they have identified, these funds that has represented a lifeline, a bridge, and also a vehicle to sustain their businesses. They're very tearful when they talk to me about what the Paycheck Protection Program has done for their community, their business, and overall workforce.
Well, I even know that just the stimulus checks alone have helped out so many people on a personal basis, myself included. So I'm very happy to see that this administration is focusing on the people that really, as you said before, we call them small businesses, but really they aren't. They're the heartbeat of America and what keeps our country running. And so to focus on them, to have an agency that is specifically looking at their well-being and helping them out is very crucial.
Yes, Laura. Here in Pennsylvania, SBA approved over 173,000 loans, and that totaled to about $20 billion. That's 173,000 small businesses. They represent families. They represent contributors to the community. In total, in Pennsylvania, you have about 12,000 manufacturing companies, and I'm proud to say that about a little over 1,000 of them are owned and managed by women. And so I'm really looking forward to tomorrow because I'll be visiting women-owned manufacturing businesses as well as other type of businesses that I've been visiting, sole proprietors and independent contractors. This president didn't want any small business left behind, and my job is to meet with all of them, as many as I can under these pandemic conditions, and engage with them and learn from them and then share any knowledge that we have at SBA that would, calm the waters, because many of them have much trepidation about winter spike on COVID, and hopefully we'll have that vaccine and the antibiotics available so that we can calm this small business sector that are still worried about any potential spike in the COVID.
Right.
pandemic.
So you're going to be in Western Pennsylvania for the weekend so far?
Actually, I arrived today. I've already toured a facility here. I'm on my way to visit another business. And then I'm going to visit a restaurant, not only to eat, but to visit them to learn how they apply their PPP funding and meet with some of their employees and learn how they're sustaining their restaurant business, their eating establishment, and if they've been able to adapt, much like the other restaurants that I visited where they are now providing curbside or delivery and pickup and online service as well. So they're very dynamic, the businesses that I visit, and the engagements are very robust. And I do engage the entire community. It's an ecosystem, the chambers, corporations, governor offices, state senators, and anyone else who wants to join the roundtable. We also have the resource partners available to us as well. So these visits are pretty comprehensive. I visit about 5 to 6 businesses, and I probably conduct about 4 or 5 interviews like yours, Laura, to make sure that the message is out. I also encourage the media to interview the establishments I visit because they have such a unique story to share with their colleagues and coworkers and fellow entrepreneurs around the world.
Yes, they do. And, we have so many businesses that partner with us here at WHJB. And we have everyone from, large corporations to a small diner down the street, all of them just as vital to our economy as the other. And I'm so glad that you're here this weekend in Pennsylvania and that you took some time out to talk with me. Again, I am speaking with Jovita Carranza, the 26th Administrator of the U.S. Small Business Administration, the SBA. And she has been talking to me very kindly about her schedule, what she's here for in Western Pennsylvania, and what the SBA does for small business and small business owners and entrepreneurs. So once again, thank you, Jovita, so much for your time today. I appreciate it, and I wish you much success in your trip here in Western PA.
Thank you, Laura, and I hope to speak with you again when the next tranche of the PPP is available for small businesses and how they're applying the funds. And I hope that something is accomplished and settled within days from now. And Laura, I would look forward to speaking with your audience again when that's negotiated and voted on very soon by Congress and Senate. And also, I'd like to offer your audience the SBA.gov, and they can search our website for many of the products and services and lenders that they can be matched with and district offices that they can be matched with so that they can contact and interact with one of the agents that we have at those offices. So again, thank you, Laura, for the opportunity to speak with you and your audience.
Thank you, Jovita. And we'll be back with the second portion of Westmoreland Community Connections, where I'll be talking with Briana Tomack, the president of the Greater Latrobe Laurel Valley Chamber of Commerce. Stay right here on Classic Hits 107.1.
This is Westmoreland Community Connections on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. If you have a suggestion for a topic, or if your nonprofit organization would like to be featured on this program, call us during regular business hours at 724-216-1200.
Westmoreland Community Connections is a presentation of Citizens Fiber.
Hi, this is Laura back from our break, and this half of our show here on Community Connections, I'm speaking with Briana Tomack. She is the president of the Greater Latrobe Laurel Valley Chamber of Commerce, and thank you. Good morning, Briana. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, sure. So our first half of our segment on Community Connections this morning was talking with the administrator of the Small Business Administration from the federal government, talking about small businesses and the COVID-19. And I thought it only made sense to talk this half of the show with someone who is working for the small businesses in Westmoreland County, and that would be Briana Tomack. So, Briana, you've been doing a lot of different things using the chamber to help small businesses, and of course, that is what you do. First of all, let me ask you this. As you're talking with small business owners, because I know that you've been keeping in touch with people and asking them if they need anything, and you've been reaching out, what are you finding? What are some of the answers some of our small business owners, our entrepreneurs are talking about now?
Well, in the beginning, it was trying to help everybody navigate, because what was very confusing was the regulations regarding closures and essential businesses and things like that. So, the information that came out at that time was trying to help people figure out what they were allowed to do, what they weren't allowed to do, and how they could still operate and provide services, even though many of them were closed to walk-in business or things like that.
Right.
As things evolved and Westmoreland County went into the yellow phase and then into the green phase, there are still restrictions regarding capacities and things like that. And so answering a lot of questions about that, helping people figure out, again, how they can still run their business and generate revenue while still observing the guidelines regarding operating a business, and also trying to help funding for people who did have to close or couldn't operate at 100% capacity.
Well, what are they saying to you, though, personally? Like, how are they feeling? What's kind of your feeling amongst business owners now?
Well, people are really suffering, really struggling to keep their doors open. Everybody has been financially impacted by closing and not being able to serve their customers. And we live in a small community, and everything is a day-by-day struggle to make ends meet anyhow. But so a lot of our smaller businesses really have been struggling, and even a lot of the bigger businesses, the manufacturers. There's a big slowdown in supplies coming from other areas in the world. So even though people can operate, sometimes they can't because they can't get the materials they need to operate. So there's a lot of things kind of that go on behind the scenes that you may not consider, but, people are having a hard time. That's really what I'm hearing across the board.
Okay, and you have been doing a lot of different things. Let's just talk about the first part of what you've been doing, which is, I think, one of the most important things. If we don't get the correct information on what's going on and how we can operate, then we're in trouble. So you've been helping with that. Tell me how you're providing information.
Well, I am in weekly contact with the Pennsylvania State Chamber of Commerce and as well as the United States Chamber of Commerce to make sure that I have accurate information that I can pass on to our members. So that information consists of what the regulations are regarding operating red, yellow, green phase, and information about proper operating procedures, cleaning and sanitizing, and how you can do business once we were in the green phase. There are different standards for every type of business, for a restaurant, for a daycare center, for a store, for a library. So that information has been passed along, and there's a lot of robust content on the United States Chamber or the Pennsylvania Chamber website for that. And then also trying to get people information on funding. There were some grants that were available through the CARES Act. There was PPP funding. There was funding for businesses who were considered to be doing like hazardous work. So that was like some extra funding available. So just being able to access it, being able to apply for it, finding information. I certainly can't provide anybody with guidance or financial advice, but I can help them find the information that they need and direct them to those resources.
Yeah, that's a very good point. You are the kind of like the guidance that they would need. Any questions that they have about how things operate, you're showing them where they can go to find that information. information. And that's very important. I don't think a lot of people use the chamber or know what the chamber actually does. Now, we've had a lot of furloughs, layoffs, all kinds of things happening from the COVID. What are you doing in regards to that for your members?
Well, through our Chamber Choice program, we have a partner, it's My Benefit Advisor, and they offer a lot of free resources to businesses in the HR realm of things. And all of the information is free, but they have guidance on the proper ways to handle furloughs and layoffs, what happens to your benefits if you are laid off, how businesses can navigate through that and still be able to help their employees maintain their benefits. It's very confusing based on what type of work you do and how long you're laid off and things like that of what businesses can do to navigate through that. So My Benefit Advisor is a great resource, and that's where we've been directing people. They have had a lot of webinars and a lot of information for businesses throughout this time.
Okay, and another thing I think that's really been hard for us, because human beings are inertly social. So when we've been staying away from each other, what we really need to do, and what's most important, is to make sure that we're staying connected. How is the Chamber helping with that?
Well, like mostly everybody else, we've been offering a lot of Zoom content. We've done a few happy hours, Zoom, and then some educational workshops and things like that, because I feel like people, and this is what I'm hearing a lot, is people feel very isolated. They are lonely for that personal contact. And so, I mean, although it's not the same via Zoom, you can still see people's faces and just try and connect, even just not even on a business level, but just on a personal level. A lot of times we just get on and say, like, how are you doing? What's been going on with you? Is there anything we can help you with? And sometimes it's just people are glad to see a friendly face and have a laugh during a Zoom call. So,
right, because I mean, one of the things that we all know the Chamber does is holds events where we can go and network. And of course, we haven't been able to do that. And I think at that point, a lot of people may feel disconnected from the Chamber. And really, my reason for having you on is to show that, yes, the Chamber is still important. We might not be able to have those in-person meetings at this point, but there are things that you are doing kind of behind the scenes that people maybe not even realize. One of those is actually on the political side of things. You're keeping in touch with local legislators. So tell me a little bit about that.
So our local legislators are helping try and direct policies to help our businesses open back up. So I've had calls with some senators, some state reps. They've had calls. They've invited me, and they've invited some of our small business owners to actually talk to them so they could kind of get a feel for what people need. At the federal level, we've been working with the United States Chamber to try and get legislation through to provide additional assistance to small businesses, as well as try and to get assistance for chambers across the United States, because as you may or may not know, chambers are excluded from receiving any of the funding that has been offered to businesses and nonprofits. So that's kind of created a struggle for us as well. But yeah, we're trying to stay connected with legislation so that they can help us direct funds to where they need to go.
Yeah, and that's something that we don't think about either. I mean, you are helping small businesses, but who's helping you? So it's the businesses that help you. And honestly, it's a networking thing. We help each other. So
we do. We all help each other. It's just like a big circle.
Right. I know personally you called WHJB because we are a member of the Chamber, and you asked us at the beginning of this whole thing, how are we doing? Is there anything we need? Which we really appreciated, because that made us feel like we were such a vital part of the Chamber. And so we really appreciated that call. And I guess you've been personally really calling your members and checking in and seeing what help they may need rather than an email. You're making that personal phone call.
Yeah, I mean, I think that means a lot to people to hear your voice on the other end of the phone. So Lauren and I have both been spending a lot of time on the phones, just calling members and touching base, and just to see what people need, or to say hello, or some people don't really need anything, but they do appreciate the call, and that's what we're here for. We're here to serve the community and make sure that they have access to whatever they need to be successful, and also it's just like having a friendly voice on the other end of the phone.
Right. Well, and let's talk about this. Let's take it down to kind of a personal level for you. In order for you to do what you do as a chamber for our local businesses, you need to be able to operate and have funds. I know that even when you were furloughed for a time, you were working from home for the businesses in Westmoreland County who belong to the Greater Latrobe Laurel Valley Chamber of Commerce. So what can we do now to give back to the chamber? What help do you need to continue so that you can help us?
Well, I mean, as far as that goes, dues collection is something that we're still working on. I know that, as we've discussed, a lot of small businesses have been hard hit financially, so we've been offering payment plans for people to be able to take care of their dues, because I know, everybody can't sometimes take care of it all at once, so we're offering monthly payment plans for dues so that we can still continue to operate. We also have had a fund created within the Latrobe Foundation where people can donate money to the chamber so that we can continue to operate and serve the community. So a donation to the Latrobe Foundation in the Greater Latrobe Laurel Valley Regional Chamber of Commerce's name would be another way people can help.
And how do people get a hold of you? I mean, there are a lot of businesses that don't belong to the chamber that maybe really should, because there's a lot of benefits. And actually, just give me kind of a couple, because I know there's a lot, but give me a couple of benefits that business would have by joining your chamber.
One of the things is just the networking opportunities. I think that's the number one thing for me, is that people do business with you because they know you. Once they get to know you, form a relationship, they know that you're feeding your kids, you're putting dinner on the table with your business. Once you get to know people, you go, oh, well, I didn't realize that you're related somehow, or, oh, yeah, we go to your church, or our kids are in school together, things like that. Mm-hmm. So networking, I believe, is one of the biggest reasons to join the chamber, because you never know who you're going to meet at an event, and somewhere down the line, you're going to be able to help them, or they'll help you. Somebody will refer a business to you because they're like, oh, yeah, I know a guy that does that. Mm-hmm. People always say that to me, like, I know a guy. Do you know somebody that does this or something? Yeah, I do. Of course I do. But beyond that, the perception of a business that belongs to the chamber is elevated. Some statistics, actually, that we just pulled on this. But when people know that you're a chamber member, they have the perception that you are an honest business. And it's kind of like it's like good PR. The other thing is the chamber offers free educational opportunities. We do so many workshops. We provide education to our members constantly to help them be successful in their business. When you're a member of the chamber, there are exclusive benefits that we offer that are only available to chamber members. And some of those are significant cost savings to a business. We have our Chamber Choice Partners, which has medical benefits available only to chamber members. And then also, as I was discussing before, My Benefit Advisor, they offer a lot of human resource guidance. And if you're a chamber member, a lot of that information is free. And one thing I do know from operating some of my previous jobs is that HR is a huge component of running any business. And one of the things that lately, has become really forefront is compliance, HR compliance. And if you are missing some of those things, you can be fined if you're not giving your employees updated information and some of the human resource documentation that's required on an annual basis. And My Benefit Advisor offers all of that information free of charge. They'll even do employee handbooks for you and just make sure that you're in compliance with labor laws and regulations, because a lot of small businesses don't have access to a big human resource department. They just don't. So
support
that's
that,
one of the
right?
Things that, yeah. And then we have the visitor center where we display all of our member information. So anytime people come into the visitor center and they're looking for
a radio station,
places to go, we have it all. Yeah, we have it all here.
Right. Okay. Well, so real quick, how can people get a hold of you? Is there a phone number? Is it a website? What is the place you'd like them to go to?
People can call the chamber at 724-537-2671, or they can email me at Briana, BRIANA, @GLLV.org.
Okay, perfect. And again, Lora Kay, and I've been spending this half of Westmoreland Community Connections this Sunday with Briana Tomack, the president of the Greater Latrobe Laurel Valley Chamber of Commerce, giving us some great advice and talking about what the chamber can do for your small business and what they've been doing during the COVID-19. Thank you, Briana, for being with me this morning, and I will talk to you soon.
It was my pleasure. Have a great day.
Thanks again for joining me this Sunday when our whole focus of Westmoreland Community Connections is businesses. Make sure to join us every Sunday for Westmoreland Community Connections at 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. right here on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB.
This has been Westmoreland Community Connections, a look at issues and happenings in and around Westmoreland County. Join us again next week on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB.
Westmoreland Community Connections is a presentation of Citizens Fiber.